True luxury is never defined by the sheer acreage of a property. Rather, it is defined by the intelligent manipulation of perception and the seamless fluidity of its boundaries. In the modern architectural lexicon, we reject the archaic notion of a backyard as a separate, detached appendage to the home. Instead, we propose the concept of the spatial continuum. This philosophy treats the exterior environment not as a garden, but as a ruthless extension of the living quarters. A bespoke domain, where the constraints of square footage are dissolved by strategic design. By erasing the psychological and visual barriers that cage us in, we unlock the hidden potential of the estate. Transforming a finite lot into an expansive, breathable sanctuary that resonates with the principles of modern minimalism. The invisible wall blueprint functions on the premise that the eye should never be arrested by a hard stop, but rather guided gently through layers of depth and texture. When we analyze the layouts of high-value properties in the Hollywood Hills or the Hamptons, we consistently find that the most valuable assets are those that master this visual trickery. It is an intellectual approach to landscape architecture that prioritizes spatial flow over clutter, ensuring that every sight line terminates not at a fence, but at a curated vignette of nature. This is the foundation of biophilic design, creating a habitat that feels boundless, organic, and ultimately restorative to the human spirit. To embark on this transformation, one must first adopt the mindset of an editor rather than a decorator. We are not filling space. We are sculpting it. The goal is to curate a personal retreat that operates with the efficiency of a high-end resort while maintaining the intimacy of a private refuge. This requires a rigorous assessment of your current layout, stripping away the jarring elements that create visual noise. The erratic planting, the disjointed patio furniture, the abrupt transitions, and replacing them with a singular, cohesive narrative. We are building a stage for your life, where nature is the ultimate luxury, and the architecture subserves the landscape. The most critical component of the invisible wall is the physical transition between the interior and the exterior. A zone we refer to in high-end design as the liminal space. To truly unlock infinite space, the flooring material must appear to bleed through the glass, creating an unbroken plane that tricks the brain into perceiving the terrace as part of the living room. We recommend utilizing large-format porcelain tiles or natural stone like honed bluestone that can be matched in tone and texture on both sides of the glazing. This continuity is the hallmark of modern architecture, effectively doubling your perceived living area the moment the sliding doors are retracted. Furthermore, the architectural fenestration, your windows and doors, must be reimagined not as barriers, but as frames for your living art. If structural renovations are within the scope of your investment, consider replacing standard sliding doors with floor-to-ceiling pocket doors, or bifold systems that vanish completely. By removing the vertical mullions and frames that slice the view, you allow the exterior landscape to flood the interior, bringing the calming energy of the garden directly into the heart of the home. This is where engineering meets poetry. The structure disappears, leaving only the experience of light, air, and greenery. However, even without major structural overhaul, the dissolution of the threshold can be achieved through the strategic alignment of furniture and decor. The trajectory of your interior design should propel the gaze outward. Orient your seating arrangements to face the garden, and mimic the color palette of your exterior flora within your interior textiles. If your garden is dominated by deep evergreen hues and slate grays, let those tones anchor your living room rugs and upholstery. This chromatic synchronization creates a subconscious link, reinforcing the feeling that the home and the garden are one unified organism, breathing in unison. A vast, undefined lawn is often the enemy of luxury. It creates a green void that feels exposed and lacks purpose. Instead, the invisible wall blueprint relies on biophilic zoning. The compartmentalization of the outdoors into distinct, functional microenvironments that mimic the utility of interior rooms. By establishing a culinary zone, a lounge zone, and a meditative zone, you create a journey of discovery within your own property line. These zones should be defined not by walls, but by changes in elevation, shifts in hardscaping materials, or the strategic placement of low-profile planters, creating a sense of privacy and intrigue as one moves through the space. Consider the sunken conversation pit or a slightly elevated dining terrace. These vertical shifts introduce architectural hierarchy to the landscape. A change in level of merely 6 inches can psychologically distinguish a space as a separate room without obstructing the long-range view. This technique creates a rich tapestry of experiences within a compact footprint, allowing the homeowner to feel held and enclosed in intimate pockets, while still maintaining the long sightlines that suggest expansive acreage. It is the application of compression and release architecture, a technique used by Frank Lloyd Wright, translated into the garden setting, to evoke a sense of drama and comfort. The furniture selected for these zones must rival the quality and aesthetic of your indoor pieces, to maintain the illusion of the outdoor living room. We move away from disposable, lightweight metals and towards substantial, investment-grade materials, such as solid-grade teak, which weathers to a sophisticated silver gray, or powder-coated aluminum, with marine-grade upholstery. The layout should encourage conversation and relaxation, utilizing L-shaped sectionals and substantial coffee tables that ground the space. This is not temporary garden furniture. These are permanent fixtures of your estate, chosen to endure the elements, while offering the tactile comfort of a luxury hotel lounge. In a high-density environment, privacy is the most exclusive commodity. Yet, the traditional solution of a high solid fence often results in a claustrophobic box effect. The invisible wall strategy counters this by treating the perimeter not as a barrier, but as a green veil, a living, breathing tapestry that obscures the neighbors while providing a lush, organic backdrop. We utilize the technique of pleached trees, often referred to as hedges on stilts, to provide screening at the upper eye level, while leaving the ground plane open for underplanting. This architectural pruning style, popular in European estates, creates a sense of order and sophistication that a wild hedge simply cannot match. To further dissolve the boundaries, we employ the concept of atmospheric perspective by layering plant textures and colors to create artificial depth. By placing darker, broad-leafed plants in the foreground and finer, lighter-hued foliage in the background, we manipulate the eye into believing the boundary is further away than it truly is. We avoid the monotony of a single-species hedge, opting instead for a mixed matrix of evergreen and deciduous textures, perhaps combining the glossy darkness of Portuguese laurel with the soft, swaying movement of ornamental grasses. This layering blurs the hard edges of the property line, making the garden feel like a clearing in a much larger forest. Soundscaping is the final, invisible layer of this privacy strategy. Visual privacy is incomplete without acoustic privacy, especially in urban or suburban settings. The inclusion of a water feature, specifically one tuned to a white noise frequency, creates a sonic curtain that masks the hum of traffic and neighborhood activity. We are not looking for a decorative trickle, but a substantial architectural water wall, or a monolithic fountain, that provides a consistent, soothing resonance. This auditory masking allows the mind to disconnect from the chaos of the outside world, deepening the immersive experience of your private sanctuary. The tactile experience of a luxury garden is defined by the authenticity and permanence of its materials. In the realm of high ROI landscaping, we strictly avoid synthetic composites that feel plastic to the touch. Instead, we prioritize natural materials that carry the weight of geological history. Travertine, limestone, and granite. These are the pillars of this aesthetic. When selecting stone for your patios and pathways, opt for a tumbled or brushed finish rather than a high polish. This provides a non-slip surface that feels organic underfoot and ages gracefully, acquiring a patina that implies the estate has stood for generations. Wood introduces warmth to the cool palette of stone and greenery, but it must be applied with surgical precision. We favor the use of narrow slatted timber for fencing or accent walls, installed horizontally, to visually widen the space. This linear application draws the eye across the horizon, expanding the perceived width of the garden. The wood choice is paramount. Cedar or thermally modified ash offer superior durability and rot resistance. These woods should be allowed to weather naturally, or be oiled with clear, matte protectants to maintain their rich, organic tones, avoiding the artificial look of heavy stains or paints. Gravel is the unsung hero of the invisible wall aesthetic, specifically when used as a transition material or for secondary pathways. A crushed granite or basalt gravel offers a satisfying auditory crunch, a sensory cue that slows the pace of the walker, encouraging mindfulness. It also provides excellent drainage, a practical consideration for sustainable luxury. By framing a gravel courtyard with steel edging, we create a crisp, modern look that contrasts beautifully with the softness of the planting. This juxtaposition of the raw and the refined is the essence of modern landscape architecture, proving that luxury lies in the thoughtful curation of textures. As the sun sets, the invisible wall must transition from a daylight sanctuary to a nocturnal masterpiece through the art of lighting design. Most homeowners make the mistake of over-illuminating, creating a harsh, security light effect that flattens the landscape. True sophisticated lighting is about sculpting shadows and highlighting voids. We use low-voltage LED fixtures to graze textured stone walls, accentuating the relief and creating a dramatic backdrop. The goal is to illuminate the perimeters of the property, pushing the darkness back and visually claiming the space at night. Moonlighting is a technique that elevates a garden from standard to sublime. By mounting fixtures high within the canopy of mature trees and aiming them downward, we filter light through the leaves to create a dappled, naturalistic pattern on the ground below. This mimics the softness of a full moon, creating a romantic and mysterious atmosphere that invites you to step outside after dark. It avoids the glare of eye-level path lights and instead washes the space in a soft, ethereal glow. This technique turns the trees themselves into sculptural elements, anchoring the vertical space of the garden. Furthermore, we must consider the temperature of the light. For a tranquil, high-end aesthetic, we strictly adhere to a warm white spectrum, ideally between 2700 K and 3000 K. Anything cooler risks making the garden feel sterile and clinical, like a commercial parking lot. We also integrate smart zoning for the lighting system, allowing the homeowner to control different scenes. A bright setting for entertaining, and a dim, moody setting for solitary reflection. This technological integration ensures that the garden is always responsive to the mood and function of the moment, extending the usability of your investment into the late hours. The transformation of your outdoor space using the invisible wall blueprint is not merely an aesthetic indulgence. It is a calculated financial investment with tangible returns. Real estate market data consistently shows that a well-designed, room-style landscape can increase perceived property value by up to 20%. In an era where home is the hub of work, leisure, and wellness, the outdoor living metric is a primary driver for high-net-worth buyers. By expanding the usable square footage of your home through these outdoor rooms, you are effectively lowering the price per square foot cost of your living space, while maximizing the asset's overall valuation. Beyond the financial ROI, there is the immeasurable return on investment for your mental and physical well-being. A biophilic sanctuary serves as a daily decompression chamber. A private health retreat that lowers cortisol levels and restores focus. In a world of digital saturation, having a quiet luxury space that reconnects you with the elemental rhythms of nature is a rare and priceless privilege. It transforms the home from a place of residence into a place of restoration. Ultimately, the invisible wall is about changing your relationship with your environment. It is about seizing the hidden potential of the land you own and curating a masterpiece that serves your soul. By blurring the lines, zoning the functions, and honoring the materials, you create a timeless sanctuary that stands apart from trends. You are not just landscaping. You are legacy building. Because, as we always say, nature is the ultimate luxury.